Sustaining Creativity podcast. I'm your host, Mari Reesberg. Over the past several years, I've combined my degrees in acting and somatic psychology to share my sustaining creativity techniques with performers. And now I've decided to share it with a bigger audience that includes you. I believe we are all creative, and this podcast is all about that. I'll be interviewing people from all backgrounds, ages, and creativity experiences to share just how creative we all are. Today, I'll be chatting with Mary Marquiss, artist, author, and art teacher. Please enjoy Mary Marquiss. Quick heads up before we dive into this episode. This episode contains mention of miscarriage, cancer, and suicide. If these are triggering topics for you, please take care of yourself and feel free to skip this episode. If you or someone you know is struggling with suicidal thoughts, please reach out to the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by dialing 988 in the US or to your local crisis center. And now let's get on with the show. Welcome to the Sustaining Creativity podcast. Today I'm chatting with Mary Marquiss, artist, author, and art teacher. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Mari. It's really fun to be here. I listened to your interview with was Alexandra Beller,
Yes.
and I loved that conversation that you had. So looking forward to talking with you.
Well, I am thrilled to have you join me today. This has been, I read your book. I got a glimpse at it, which was spectacular. And I can't wait to talk about your journey of that process and the stories that you share in it. But before we get there, why don't you let our listeners know maybe an overview, a little bit about who you are and what you do?
So I have been an artist and an art teacher and a freelance writer for 30 years. And I recently wrote a book called Behind the Painting with 10 of my paintings and 10 stories that are interwoven with each painting over a 30-year period of time. So that was nice to finally bring that together. It's really a marriage of both my art and my writing. So so now I'm just talking to people about it, which is fun.
I
Like
love
you.
it. Yes, and it's amazing to just I don't know that while I was reading it, I fully captured that it was 30 years over the course of 30 years. So hearing you say that, I'm rethinking all of these pieces that I just read. I love that. And it, while yes, it spanned 30 years, it really felt so present and relevant to things that we all navigate, whether personally or familially, is that a word? And in our family system.
It is now.
It is now,
Mari.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, before we dig into your book, I'm curious, what does it mean to you to be creative?
Well, I'm going to refer back to Alexandra Beller, that interview, because you asked her about how it felt in her body to feel creative. And I love what she said. She said, "Oh, there I am." It's kind of like, "Oh, that's me." And for me, connecting with nature, because I was born and raised in Oregon and the nature abounds here. It hasn't been overdeveloped yet, the state. That growing up in a filbert orchard, which are hazelnuts, same thing. We grow filberts and we sell hazelnuts. I was in nature all the time. And whether it was the Oregon coast and finding seashells, or in the valley and the abundance of produce in the valley in the summer. I mean, every kind of berry imaginable. I was just eating Marion berries yesterday, which were developed at Oregon State, right? It's a combination of two berries they put together. I just think that being grounded in nature has really helped me navigate. And then, I think that I would just say, nature is the biggest, because nature has taught me so much about design, whether it's texture, shape, line, color, especially color, nature puts red and green together, which are opposites on the color wheel.
Mhm.
How wise is that? You know, because they resonate with each other. And so nature's been my greatest art teacher, really.
Huh.
And so being in nature and seeing the beauty of
Mhm.
what was created, that makes me feel like what Alexandra said is, oh, there I am, because I'm also part of nature.
Mm.
So,
That's
yeah.
beautiful. I love just being grounded in nature, that nature has taught you so much about design and color and texture and utilizing that in your art. Because those pictures in the book of your paintings or your pieces of art were they elicited a visceral response from me when I saw them. So that was such a treat to have that visceral experience while also reading your words. So,
Yeah, the first so there's 10 chapters, and in the beginning when I was building my painting career, I and teaching, I focused on single flowers, you know, big Georgia O'Keeffe size
mm-hmm.
roses or
Mm,
sunflower or any kind of singular flower. And then after about 10 years, I kind of bloomed out. I was like, oh, okay, they were selling, but that's not what I wanted to do. And I started changing my style and moving more into abstract,
mm,
which I found a particular form called the cruciform. And it's
mm,
not about religion, it's about more a sense of spirit, because it's just a really good design form where you have a horizontal line of some made up of lines, shapes, colors, texture, and then you have a vertical. And somewhere on that picture plane, they're going to cross. So
mm-hmm,
I was doing that abstract series long before cancer was discovered. And then when
mm,
cancer was discovered, I leaned into that form
mm,
because I reached out on that horizontal. I reached out to my community for help. I'd
mm-hmm.
always been one of those people that said, "Oh, well, I can handle it. I can do it myself." I was so independent. But no, not when you are hardly able to move. You reach out for help. So everybody around me was I that I could think of to reach out to, I did. And
Mm,
then that vertical line was really more of a grounding, like I was just talking about grounding in nature
mm-hmm,
and reaching up for any kind of connection that you have, as long as you
mm-hmm.
don't call yourself God. I think we're fine. We're fine, to reach up.
I
You know?
love it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, I was kind of held in there where those two crosses where I felt held.
Mm-hmm. Navigating that transition in your life for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I got some stability out here with my family and community, and
Mm-hmm.
I've got this vertical connection with spirit, however you want to define spirit,
Yeah.
and the ground. And I was held in there. I really
Mm.
felt like that was my secure, kind of like a nest, like building a little
Yeah.
nest in there.
I
Yeah, if you
love
can
it.
visualize that, yeah. So
Yeah.
the abstracts are more at the back of the book.
Yes.
Hmm.
And that journey from those single flowers to that picture of the woman on the bicycle was
Oh,
I love that. Just took me right back to wherever you were. Were you in France
I
or
was in Paris. I was
yeah,
in
in
Paris when I
Paris.
saw that. And
Yeah.
her orange coat against that blue building.
Mm,
See, there again, you've got opposites on the color wheel,
yeah.
orange and blue. And so that's what captured my eye, because I'm always mixing color in my head. With
Mm,
watercolor, you mix because that water is fluid, and
right.
so put colors into a shape and they can merge and dance,
Mm,
which teaches me about movement, which
yeah.
teaches me about letting go. So in that one chapter where I was going through a divorce, and I washed my painting all the way down the
Hmm.
drain that I had
Hmm.
spent weeks on, but
Yes.
I knew it wasn't my best work. And
Yeah.
my friend took me out to her house, and it was on 300-pound watercolor paper, so it's like cardboard weight.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I watched as all those colors merged and went down the drain. And I was letting go of my marriage, my little
Mm,
sweet, at the same time.
Yeah.
as I watched all those colors go down the drain. But then I built it back up, the
Yeah.
painting.
And
Yeah.
I
So
mean, that metaphor of letting go and building back up, I feel like in each chapter, you had an experience of that. Every chapter had an essence or a moment of letting go and then rebuilding. Almost that, like, some of them felt more Phoenix-esque of like being set on fire and having to re.
yeah. Yeah, there's no shortage of life lessons out there. No
Yeah.
shortage, right? So
Hmm.
we either move through them or we get stuck, I think.
Mm.
And
Hmm.
and so at some point, so at my age, by now, I'm like, okay, I know that that we can rise again, but they're gonna come. I mean, I remember sitting in some workshop somewhere when I was 38, 39, thinking, oh, I don't want any more bad things to happen to me. Oh, the rest of my life, I just want to be, be free of all that. Well, no. No, you don't get to.
Hmm.
So the question is, what do you do? And so working through those transitions and letting go and then moving on down the river, right? I'm right here on the
Hmm.
Mackenzie River. It's like the river flowing. And sometimes
Yeah.
I get stuck a little bit on the side,
Yep.
like it's brambles or something. And maybe there's a few
Sure.
blackberries I can eat while I'm hanging out there, in August. But then, the river picks me up and I move on down. So
Yeah.
I guess that's sort of the meaning of being weathered, perhaps.
Mm. In hearing you speak about kind of this journey of letting go and kind of rebuilding, I'm just struck by how much trust one has to have for that, to not get stuck and stay stuck, but to trust that it's okay to keep moving. How did you kind of come to that understanding that you're allowed to keep moving, even through really intense challenges, divorce, cancer, loss, grief?
Well, part of it, I would say, is courage.
Mm,
But but I would say more than that, it's a desire to get through it and
hmm.
on to the other side, not to be stuck. I don't want to be stuck. In
Hmm.
week 3 of my cancer chemotherapy and radiation, I asked the nurse when she was doing an infusion in the infusion room at St. Charles in Bend, I said, it kind of feels like you're taking me right to the edge and you're trying not to push me over. And
Mm,
she paused and said, "Yeah, that's kind of what we do. It's like they're just going to kill everything. And eventually, I know we will get to a place where it's not so harsh. But chemo
mm,
drugs are very brutal because they kill everything. And so I think for me, I didn't want to stay feeling bad. So you're motivated
hmm,
to get through so you can get to the other side. I mean, in that fundamental, simple way, it's like,
hmm.
I don't want to stay here. I don't like it here.
Hmm.
I want to get out of here. And when I was in that infusion room, again with the cruciform, it faces the Three Sisters Mountains, and there's these massive windows. I
Mm,
mean, whew, just
hmm.
all window on that west facing side with the Three Sisters Mountains. And so beautiful snow, snow top mountains. And so that's the horizontal line right there. And I was in the back of the room. And so these vertical poles with all these chemo drugs that were dripping into people's bodies
Hmm.
were all vertical. So there it was, the horizontal and the
And the
vertical.
vertical.
And I sat there looking at that, and we were all facing towards the west windows, like we were all waiting for a movie,
Hmm.
instead of being. And I thought, there it is again. There it
Mm,
is. That's what I needed to be reminded of. Mary, you're going to be okay. You're going to get
yeah.
through. So it's the trust comes from experience, but you
Mm,
have to, when I had 2 miscarriages early on, and then I went through a divorce, and it was with my one of my best friends that my husband was having the affairs with for 2 years.
mm,
It was hard to get through it,
yeah.
but that's what then it's like anything, it builds muscle. And then you
Right.
realize, well, I got through this one, hopefully nothing else will come. Little did I know cancer was going to be on the horizon. But I got through that. I
Hmm.
learned, I learned some things.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to take what I learned a lot of it is empathy and compassion for other people. That's
Mm. Hmm.
that's what that's what I because we're all in this together. And yeah, I learned that I could get through. I learned that I could persevere.
Mm-hmm.
Does that ring true for you?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the what you said, trust comes from experience. I think it's kind of the both and it comes from experience, and when we don't have the experience, there's still an opportunity to trust.
Yeah, because
And
I've
and
noticed, yeah.
and it builds that
Well,
experience. Yeah.
yeah, because I've realized that if I don't step into a lesson, if I pretend or am in denial or push it away, it's going to come back around.
Right. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
They give
For
me another chance to recognize it and learn from it.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
seems
So
like that's yeah.
go ahead.
Well, it seems that's how life works.
Yeah.
Is it gives you another chance to learn the lesson.
It does. This is very true. My mother says the life gives you the perfume version, and if you don't get it that time, you may get the toilet water version.
Oh, wow. I never heard that.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never heard that. That's a good one. That's a good
So
one. Wow. So pay attention,
pay
right?
attention, exactly. For you in your own art, I'm curious, you know, how has your art helped kind of transform experiences for you, or how do you use your art to help you keep moving?
Um, it's who I've always been.
Hmm.
So so for instance, on the cover of the book, there's a poppy that's cropped a little bit, but that was the first time that I realized that my art was helping me.
Mm.
So I painted a poppy. There were lots of irises in the background. I used Prussian blue to cover all of them because I kept looking at the poppy, realizing it needed to just be about one flower. Little did I
Mm.
know that my husband was having an affair and I would be navigating a divorce.
Mhm.
Um, so I took the painting to my one woman show. It was the first to sell. Then another woman came along and said, I'd like to buy that poppy. She said, a friend of mine went through a divorce and she's a very passionate person. And
Mm.
she left a little money after she drove herself off a cliff in Portland.
Wow.
And I'd like to buy that painting to honor her.
Mm.
Well, I wasn't going through a divorce yet, but I thought, oh my gosh, I don't usually paint a second painting of the same, but I could
Mhm.
do a series,
Yeah.
which is just a variation on the initial design. And I thought, this is important. So I said, okay, I'll paint you another one, even though this one's sold, but it won't be the same. It'll be a
Mhm.
little bit it might be better, might be stronger because I've worked out the design issues. And then we had it framed and it hung in her beautiful, beautiful home that was all neutral tones. And then the red poppy was pretty strong because
Wow.
wasn't competing with anything else.
Mhm.
And then I found out about the affair and realized that I needed to step through divorce too. And I was teaching them art lessons at that point. So every week I would go into their home and I would see that poppy.
Mhm.
And I was pretty crushed by the whole thing.
Mhm.
And we had a 16-year-old daughter. Um, it was not a good time at all. It was rough. And I would see that poppy and I would think, I don't feel strong. I don't feel
Mm.
strong at all. But that poppy looks so strong. Well, well, I did that. I painted that. So there must be more strength within me than I realize. And I'm going to
Mm.
need to pull on that strength to
Mhm.
get through.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And that's the first time. that
Mm.
any of my art after maybe 15 years, 12 years of painting, that a painting really spoke back. And the other way is using art as therapy. That was a circular language where the art spoke back to me. But then there's also when you just feel like you just need to express your feelings and not hurt anyone or yell at anyone, not yell
Yeah.
at anyone. I'm not really a screamer. I'm more inward. I just wet a shape and I drop color into it and let it swim
Mm.
and I make marks. Um, and I can set it aside and then I can go back to it and add. And it's just kind of this painting that gets to be a form of expression. It's not trying to be anything. Maybe it does
Hmm.
evolve into something, but that's just me putting marks on paper
Yeah.
and as a way of therapy.
Yeah, kind
Like
of
someone
expressing that inner
expressing
landscape.
those the inner feelings, the inner landscape. And what's interesting, I think, is anyone who does that, that's going to give them something in return. Why are
Mm.
you picking pink over black? Why are you
Hmm.
wanting to make little tiny, tiny marks versus being big and bold? I think it gives you information back whenever
Hmm.
you express something from the inside out.
Absolutely. Well, for individuals who are, you know, in the throes of an art experience or art career, or people who are just starting, what are some tips or tools to kind of start that re more of a relationship with the art that you're creating?
Okay. Okay, good, good. So as an art teacher for over 30 years, what I recommend highly is three colors. Just get three
Mm.
colors. And watercolor is nice because it's fluid. Don't worry about getting too complicated with it. You just have a red, a blue, and a yellow. And with that, you can make green and purple and orange. So you've got your primary colors, and then you can create your secondary from just
Mm-hmm.
those three. And then you can create tertiary if you want to go again expanding out. And so that's how I often start many of my paintings. And then I'll pull in a few other colors that really speak to me. There's
Mm.
a reason why they resonate with you, so pull them in if you want to, but just start with three and get a really good brush because you
Mm.
deserve to give yourself the best. Even if you're a
Mm.
beginner, I always start people off with a really good quality brush and really good paper, high
Mm.
quality paper like Arches. I don't recommend getting the cheap things because what if you start out and you create something that you absolutely love, but it's on cheap paper? That's
Mm.
not good. You want to honor anything that you do, honor it. And
Mm-hmm.
and that's really important because you're honoring yourself by
Yeah.
putting that out there. And some of my best fun work was when I was a beginner. I took a year of drawing, at University of Oregon, only drawing, and learned about line. And some of those, I go back to some of those early ones and they're sweet,
Mm.
they were
Mm-hmm.
new and fresh and I didn't know how to draw a face. And so my self-portrait was me with a hat kind of over my face. And everyone and the teacher I remember thought, oh, that's really creative. That's really innovative. And I didn't want to say, but I could have, well, I don't know how to draw a face. So I just covered my face with a hat, you know.
But what a creative solution to a problem or
Yeah.
to a challenge. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So then the paper, I would get a size 10
Mm.
a brush
Hmm.
because that you can do little tiny work with it, but you can also do broader strokes. So three tubes, your red, your yellow, and your blue. I think I said that in the
Hmm.
beginning, red, yellow, blue.
Yeah.
I hope I did. And again, a really good quality. I use Winsor Newton. It's expensive, but
Yeah.
a little bit goes a long way. And the color that you get with a Winsor Newton is brilliant. It's
Mm.
just better. I mean, when classes were back in the day, people would come in with all their supplies and I would have a demonstration. And students would come up to me and say, well, why isn't my color as strong as her color? And I would say, well, because honestly, she used a more a better quality, higher quality paint,
Yeah.
and it matters. It matters.
Hmm.
So is that, yeah. So
Yeah.
I would,
So
that's what
just
I
to
would recommend.
recap,
Yeah,
pick your three colors, have a really good paintbrush, and really good quality paper to
and
start.
paint
And
and
paint
paint,
and good quality
paint,
paint. Yeah.
brush, paper, paint, brush, paper, and you can get water anywhere.
Ah, I love it. Thank you for
And
those
there are a
tips.
lot of
Yeah.
people that, yeah, there are a lot of people that really prefer acrylics because they can control them.
Hmm.
Well, and I understand that, but what I always loved was the magic that
Mm,
happened with watercolor. If you don't
yeah.
try and control it, if you
Right.
just kind of let it, go and see where it goes and have fun, just have fun with
Mhm.
it. And
Yeah.
this is, yeah, yeah.
It sounds like
So,
also kind of
so, so
allowing yourself to be swept away in the water and the color and the just to let
exactly.
it be what it is and
You can
that
always learn,
experience.
yeah, you can always learn technique. There's a lot, watercolor is very technique laden. So there's
Hmm.
lots of different techniques you can use, but initially just play around. So
Yeah.
it's red, yellow, blue. It's good paper, a good brush, a good paint and water
Yeah.
and have at it.
I
You
love
can
it. I
Yeah, you can
love
splatter. Yeah, you can take a toothbrush and you can splatter, or
Mm.
the brush you can splatter, and that makes like a field of poppies, and you just put a little stems on. I mean, there's so many things that you can do, and play. Freud
Yeah.
said that play is a child's work,
Hmm.
and every student almost that I've ever had has wanted to get back to that playful place.
Right. I love it. Great reminder. I'm curious what, having written this book and you have all this art and you have these life experiences, what were the lessons that you took away from writing this book?
Well, very interesting. I lived the experiences, and
Yeah.
then I wrote about them,
Hmm.
and I had three different editors, and each editor had a different lens on my work, which
Yeah.
was really helpful.
Hmm.
Then I didn't know that I would have to do this, but I then worked with an audio coach voice coach to do the audiobook.
Hmm.
Now, my daughter, who got her chemical engineering degree at Oregon State, became then after a couple startups, engineering startups, she became a voice actor, character voice actor
I
in
love it.
Seattle. So I called Catherine, my daughter, and I said, "So, ready for the audiobook now? I'll send you the script." And she said, "Oh no, oh no. I am not an audiobook voice actor. I am a character voice actor." Oh, okay. Well, then, what do I do? She said, "I recommend here's two sources, one in New York, another with someone else. You can get your um, practice with an audio coach. You can get your experience with an audio coach, and that will be just great." And I, okay, okay. But I mean, I'd already experienced those things. Then I had written about them, which took me a couple of years. Now I'm going to voice them. Well, I wasn't really prepared
Yeah.
for emotional
Mm.
voicing all that
Hmm.
again, experiencing it again
Yeah.
was going to be, because you don't just read it, you act it.
Right.
So I was back there again in the midst of those things, and
Mm.
my voice coach and I were working through each chapter, because I could only do one chapter at a time,
Mhm.
emotionally. Then we got to chapter 7, which is about Harry and Harvey, who are my loyal adrenal glands, who are basically telling me, "Hey, honey, you got to slow down.
Mhm.
You're moving too fast, and you're burning through your adrenals." Um, and my voice coach and I looked at each other like, what do adrenal glands sound like? I mean, when you can write about them, sure, but when you're having to voice them.
Mhm.
So I thought, I know who will know, my daughter. She's a character voice actor. This is what she does. So I called her. "Oh, sure, Mom. Oh, yeah, sure, sure. I'll just do that this evening and you can check it in the morning and see what you think." Well, when I listened to them, I listen to her through my really good speakers in my living room. And she gave my two adrenal glands, Harry and Harvey, a Southern twang, a masculine Southern twang. She nailed it. And I was laughing, because
Mm,
I didn't realize when I had written it
yeah.
that Harry was the dominant adrenal gland. Harvey was the total, like, oh sure, Harry, whatever you say, Harry, that's fine, Harry. I didn't realize how compliant, Harvey was until I listened
Mm.
to her rendition. So in the audiobook that is also available, I voice everything except chapter 7, and that's when my daughter comes in.
I love just the story of kind of that experience of narrating an audiobook and having to relive everything, and then the collaboration with your daughter. What a treat to have that be a part of this as well. And I know you have the book and the audiobook and your artwork out, but before you let us know where we can get it, I just have one last question for you.
Yeah.
What does it feel like in your body to be creative?
It's magical.
Mm.
It is it's what I was designed to do.
Mm, I love
And
that.
so it feels like coming home.
Mhm.
And sometimes I have to push myself over the threshold into my art studio because life is so busy. Life can be.
Yeah.
But when I go into my art studio and I start playing with color and warming up, because just like running, you have to warm up. You don't just launch into a painting. I warm up and I play around, and I feel like, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be. And
Mm,
as a writer, writing and art are so different. When I'm writing, it's more headspace.
mm,
I'm more in that left brain.
mhm.
But when I'm painting, I'm more in my right brain.
Yeah.
And they both fire pretty well.
Mhm.
Uh, I mean, they work together. We know that, the left and the right brain. But it just feels good. And
Mm,
it's like what I was designed to do. And yeah, coming home. And I love that art has helped me through life's challenges.
yeah.
It's been my support. It's my support team. Hmm.
I love
Yeah.
it. I love all of this. And this has been such a rich and beautiful conversation. If people want to learn more about your book, your audiobook, your art that you have out in the world, how could they go about doing that?
So I use a London publisher, but I'm set up on Amazon. So
Mhm.
Amazon has my paperback and my audiobook and the ebook that are all available on Amazon.
Great.
And yeah, it's available in a few independent bookstores in Portland and in Oregon only.
Mhm.
So yeah, I wanted to support independent bookstores about as well as I could. So
I love
yeah,
it. And
yeah.
tell us your website where we can see your art and
Yes,
also the
because
other things you
yeah,
have going on.
yeah, that's right. All my art is on my website as well as the book. It's www. I don't know if people even use those W's anymore in the front. And then just my name, Mary Marquiss, MarYMarQuiss, .com.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Well, I will
Yeah.
put links in show notes so people have easy access. And thank you so much for this conversation. This has been so wonderful.
Thanks, Mari. It's been really fun. We should do this again sometime.
I love it. Yes.
Okay. Or we should get together and throw some paint around.
Even better, even better.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. We'd love to keep in touch, so follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We are at Sustaining Creativity. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Tag your friends and family so they can listen too. We love to hear from you, so leave your reviews, comments, and questions. Check out our website, sustainingcreativity.com, for upcoming offerings and creativity coaching. Tune in Tuesdays for our next episode. And remember, with creativity, anything's possible.